Welcome in, welcome in.
What's up?
First Man Bunk Bed post-draft,
Post-draft.
episode.
Whoop, whoop.
So post-draft, we made it, everybody. We made it. Football Christmas in the books for 2024. So I am. Yeah, that's right. I am Zach Bradley at Zac Bradley on Twitter, Sleeper, and of course the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Co-host here, Nolan, aka Fat Squirtle.
What's up?
You will not find him on any social medias minus the Fantasy Football
Advice Network. The only one that matters.
That's right. So, we are excited to have you guys back. We're excited to get into the first post-draft episode. We're going to talk a little bit about the draft. We've got our first Underdog draft from there. So, before we do that, the 3 Man Bunk Bed podcast is a Fantasy Football Advice Network podcast that is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. So, get the ticker on there. As you jump on and sign up for Underdog Fantasy for the first time, use the deposit code FFADVICE, and your first deposit will be matched. So, all right.
Free money. We love that.
Yeah, that's right. Love that free money.
In this economy? Of course.
Stop it. Actually, before we really jump into that draft, all right, so...
we're big.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, we can kind of mess around a little bit.
For once.
Well, what are we drinking tonight, Nolan? What is that?
Little Lunazul.
Can we have that? Is that, like, can we get a sponsorship for that?
Hashtag a day yo. If we get sponsored by this, I'll
have to go to alcohol.
I don't know if I'll be functioning for a while.
I hear that.
We're starting a little late, so I've had a couple already. So
that's my bad, y'all. I'm having we're having daughter issues this evening. So, all right, Nolan. So what do you think? First impressions of the 2024 NFL Draft. I mean, what jumped out at you?
The Chargers feel like they kind of ruined everybody's draft a little bit. I feel like every mock was kind of similar veins. There's some people going for clicks, but them picking Joe Alt, I feel like, shifted everyone's board differently than we expected.
Yeah, I don't think I disagree with that. They needed a tackle, no doubt. And Joe Alt's most pro-ready of the group, but in what seems like a all-time tackle class, at least in the first round, I think the thought was they take receiver, they trade down and take a tackle and a receiver.
Yeah,
instead
trade out, take a tackle at 11, receiver at 23. We all thought it was going to be the Vikings trade. It made so much sense, and it's honestly a little shocking it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's just do first round. We can continue to do this as we go through it. What was what's biggest disappointment for you in the first round, offensively? Right, this is fantasy football, especially like best ball. We're not doing IDP here. Okay.
Hold on. I wasn't prepped for this. Let me pull up a draft. It's got to be the Falcons, right?
Yeah,
that's the weirdest pick you've ever seen. So, after day of, everybody was so confused. It didn't make any sense. Going back afterwards, when you look back at the Kirk Cousins contract he just signed, it ended up being, yes, it's 4 years. Yes, it was $180 million. Only $100 million of it, I think, was guaranteed, and it was only guaranteed for the first 2 years. So in reality, it was a 2-year deal with team options after, which makes this pick make a lot more sense. Looking at it is, if he plays great for 2 years, you've got 2 more years. If he doesn't, you're done after 2 years. And if Penix was the top player on your board and it wasn't close how they were explaining it, it makes sense. Especially like they were in QB purgatory. It felt like a little bit like sitting between Ritter and whoever else was on the team.
Heineke,
and it felt like purgatory a little bit. And so if you wanted to stay out of that post Kirk, or even during Kirk, if say he gets hurt again or his age starts to show, like he's not young at this point. I think he's 36.
Yeah,
he was going to be 40 at the end of this contract. He's not Tom Brady. Let's be real.
That's true.
So to keep from being in the situation they were before post Matt Ryan, I guess it makes more sense. It just feels extreme when they used to pick it that high to do it.
Yeah, and
like,
they got $180 million invested in his mentor.
Exactly. So, like, people were comparing it to, like, the Jordan Love thing. Sure, but Jordan Love was picked at 22, not, 8?
That's right.
It made sense, but it was just, I don't know. I felt a little unreasonable by it.
No, I'm with you. For me, it's got to be, and look, before I really tell you the name, for those of you who wonder how sincere I feel about this, I traded players to get in position to draft this rookie player in our Dynasty League. Yeah. So I am so upset that the Raiders took Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Okay. After having just taken Michael Mayer last year and still having Austin Hooper on the roster. I just think now this is a rare example of a team actually taking best player available. They went who cares what our needs are? Let's take Brock Bowers. He's generational.
Right.
But for fantasy purposes, I struggle with this one, I think. Gardner Minshew likes his tight ends. He likes his over-the-middle runners. But, they needed so many other things, and there were so many other more ideal situations that Brock Bowers could have landed on, I think.
Yep. I think the other 31 teams, any of them, pick one, it would have been a better situation than what he got drafted into.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's super tough. So for me, that's disappointment. If I have to jump into biggest, win maybe or most excitement, for me, I don't want to go cheap and tell you, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik. I feel like it's easy, but we are sticking first round. So I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. at the Jaguars. Yes. And this was I was excited about this pick before they got rid of Zay Jones today.
I was about to say, especially after the news when they dropped Zay Jones.
Yeah, and so they got rid of Zay Jones.
I like Zay Jones. I'm kind of bummed.
Well, hopefully he goes to the Bills or, the Giants or somebody that needs a receiver badly.
Not the Giants, not anymore, at least.
But that guy has a 4-lane interstate, line to work in a passing offense where the quarterback, so far passing touchdown wise is really underachieved. And so, man, he's got a weapon here. Brian Thomas is young and dynamic. He only really had one great college season, but man, if this turns out to be like Justin Jefferson 2.0, T-Law's going to look like a boss.
Especially because it doesn't overlap any of the players they have now that Zay Jones is gone. Their wide receiver one, it's still going to be Christian Kirk. I don't care what anybody says. It's still Christian Kirk. But he's a slot receiver. Brian Thomas is going to play on the outside. They're probably not going to be on the same side of the field. And then Evan Ingram is also fantastic tight end. What was he? Ended last year, fantasy tight end 5, maybe?
Yeah.
So it just feels like he filled the perfect hole on a team that is a pass-first team. T-Law had a bunch of games last year where he threw over 40 passes.
Yep. So, all right, let's do this. Let's jump into our first Underdog draft post 2024 NFL draft. But before we do that again, please remember, as you jump on Underdog because you watch the show and you're excited to do your own best ball drafts, to use FF Advice for your first deposit match. And we'll help you get some money on that. So shout out to the Fantasy Football Advice Network for hooking us up with that.
Shout out.
So, all right, let me jump over to boom. All right, Nolan. So this was really Nolan's first Underdog draft. Nolan and I worked together, so we tried to piece this together and be a part of this together, and that was not happening at work today.
Let me preface this a little bit. I got real busy mid and definitely at the end. The last 4 picks I did not make. But came out they weren't that bad. 2 of them were bad. 4 of them weren't.
So in this draft, we're judging we're judging Wing 14, but we're also going to take a look at how some of the rookies moved and how that's impacting their draft status here. So, all right, Nolan.
So I started. I don't know. First pick. It's more of a preference, I guess. I like a high floor in the first round because I feel like if you've got the high ceiling guy, you're basically coin flipping whether he ends the year or not. You're looking at Tyreek got hurt, CMC got hurt, Burrow got hurt, so it messed up Chase. Kirk got hurt, so it messed up Jefferson. I don't know. I feel like Amon-Ra super high floor while still having high ceiling. So
I'm with you on that.
Amon-Ra, safe bet first round.
Yeah,
that's where I went. I do like in the first round. I've seen a lot of these. I watch a fair bit of like people on YouTube do these. I see a lot of Marvin Harrison going like 7 to 9 range, which seems psycho.
he's
Like
this year's Bijan, right?
he's still a rookie. Like yes, sure, he's one of the best wide receiver prospects to come out in a long time. But like he's still a rookie. He's still on a question mark team. I don't know. I feel like here at the 12 is probably closer to where he needs to be ending up. If you're getting him in like the 8-9 range, feels way too early. I wouldn't touch him in that range.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, when you look at some of the guys that go after, and look, you're talking about like floors and ceilings. He's a rookie receiver. Now he should have a pretty high floor, but the reality is you're drafting him because, he should have like this
Crazy
astronomically high ceiling.
Yep.
But it's best ball, right? So when you're looking at, it's not dynasty, on Underdog. So you're drafting for this year and who you think is going to score a bunch of touchdowns.
Yep.
And so do you really think he's going to be Puka Nacua, or do you think that we regress to the mean a little bit and he has rookie campaigns more similar to like the guys that are going after him now, which is Chris Olave or Drake London or Garrett Wilson or guys like that. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think, he is worth a shot in the first 3 rounds, but I don't like him in the first round.
Right.
When I look at the guys after him, Chris Olave, Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle, those guys, it's just my preference, but I think I go those. Nolan, we're old school maybe. Freshmen don't get to play, right?
Maybe. Yeah, we might be a little like that, but that's all right. One that I am curious about is the Nico right here at the end of the second. Nico here, end of the second. Stephon, middle 6. I don't know. I have so many ifs about who is going to be getting the volume on that team.
Yeah.
If you look last year at CJ Stroud, everybody's like on Keep Trade Cut. He's the highest dynasty asset on the site right now, which seems crazy for a quarterback that averaged 18 points a game last year. He ended up he wasn't even a top 10 fantasy quarterback. So it just seems like there's a lot of Kool-Aid drinking right now. Yes, he's great. Yes, he was just a rookie. He should be even better this year.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. If people have got him ranked ahead of like Mahomes and Allen and all these people, it's scary a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Granted, that's dynasty rankings and not best ball rankings, but I'm mixing those a little there. But I don't know. Where those targets are going to go and what kind of volume there's actually going to be scares me for taking 2 receivers on the same team that high.
Yeah. So then we jump into round 2 here, and I'm interested to see that. And it's just the first draft, right? So we're talking about less than a week post NFL draft. Kyron's still around to running back. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder if, Blake Corum was drafted by the Rams. And so I wonder if as we watch the preseason, if Blake Corum is healthy and dynamic like he was in his senior year at Michigan, like if Kyron doesn't start falling. I think Kyron, Blake Corum is in line for goal line touches here.
Yep.
I think that's an easy shot there.
It makes sense. Calling it now, Kyron's going to get pushed into the DeAndre Swift role. He's going to get all the yards but none of the scores, and so it's going to hamper his scoring a lot.
Like 1,200 all-purpose, but like 2 touchdowns.
That's right.
That hurts.
Another one that I think that might happen to more than people realize is Saquon Barkley. Last year, Jalen Hurts scored 16 rushing touchdowns.
That's gross, man.
It was just disgusting to think about. Yes, they're losing their Hall of Fame center and the center of their tush push. But I don't know, man. That's a lot. When you have a quarterback that rushes that much to be taking the running back next to him that high, I would like to wait a little longer in the offseason to kind of see what that offense looks like a little more before I take him that high. If it comes out that, he's going to touch the ball, 20 times a game running and receiving and still get some goal line carries, fine, great, love it. It's just I worry if he's actually going to get those, 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, from like the 2-yard line out. Those
Yeah.
rush easy touchdowns. It's a worry that he might not get those.
Yeah. And I didn't say this. I meant to say this before I moved on round 2. So, like, you see Marvin Harrison going in the first round at pick 12. And I just kind of catch myself going, when you look at that depth chart for best ball purposes, like, why wouldn't I let someone take Marvin Harrison early and then get Michael Wilson much, much later, a year into this offense? Like not veteran, he's year 2 guy, but like as veteran as that team gets on receivers, and the value difference in those 2 guys, for what I'm going to have to give up draft capital to get, I don't know. Some people are going to be so enamored with these rookies as we get into this draft, and you see some of these other names that, they picked up way earlier than I think in a best ball format they should. If it's dynasty, sure. Redraft maybe, but best ball, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's okay right now. There's a couple. Marvin feels a couple picks too high, but nothing crazy. Neighbors feels about right where he's going. And really, if you kind of look at it, the next rookie didn't go till Rome in the mid-5.
And I got words about that too when we get there.
yeah, we'll get there. So, I mean, it's not crazy yet. After doing these a little more and the ADPs get adjusted a little, it may change. But as it sits, it's not too crazy.
So let me jump in here. No, you know what? We're going to go ahead and I've got to talk about it. So we're focusing on rookies on this one. It's post-draft. So, yeah, you had Marvin Harrison at 112. You got Malik Neighbors at the 2-3, which does feel like pretty decent value. He's the only, mega talented receiver on that team. The next best talented receiver is a combination of Sterling Shepard or Darius Slayton, right?
We have no idea who's going to be the quarterback. Didn't the report came out today that Drew Lock has a shot to start?
Yeah, I mean, he got a shot, but I don't know. No, money speaks. We talked about this last year. I forget which quarterback we were talking about.
Especially with quarterbacks.
Yeah, but money speaks, right? Like, they have $40 million invested in this guy. They're going to let him figure it out definitively, I think. So the next rookie receiver or rookie anything that was drafted is Rome Odunze.
Yep, Odunze.
Rome.
Rome's fine. Yeah, we'll go with that.
And he's in round 5 here, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't get this, Nolan. I don't get this. So we're talking about a best ball draft, and they're picking a rookie receiver in the 5th round who's had 2 other receivers on the same team already drafted in this draft.
Good.
And you think that he's going to do better than Terry McLaurin or even the other rookie receivers in the next round? Like, I would take Brian Thomas Jr. or Xavier Worthy to the moon above Rome Odunze right now.
No, I agree. Basically, you have a Chicago receiver going in the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th round, which feels just wild. The fucking Caleb Williams hype is to the moon. It's crazy.
I really think he's going to be that. Like, this is right. So these ADPs and these draft statuses are that's average draft picks. So where everyone who's using this app and doing these picks, where that person is ticking up and down. I was going to ask if he was a reach or not, but he probably wasn't that big of a reach compared to his ADP right now. And so,
he was picked 55, ADP 53.
Come on, man. So in this one, they steal, right?
It's crazy. It was the guy that drafted Keenan Allen grabbed him too. So it's he's getting both of them. Fine best ball strategy. Yeah.
Well, and he took a really good receiver in the 9th round. With Curtis Samuel. So, but still, I'm out on Rome that early. Like,
actually, his receivers are pretty solid.
Yeah. We'll forgive him on the Rome pick because the rest of them are okay. But, but yeah, look, in the next round you can get Brian Thomas Jr., who's wide receiver 2, not wide receiver 3. You can get Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is a year 2 wide receiver 3 guy. And then, you take shots at the KC guys. Hollywood Brown in that offense, Xavier Worthy in that offense. Those guys are both 4-2 guys. Or even look at the last 2 guys, or the Calvin Ridley and Jaden Reed after that. I mean, I'm smashing the button for those guys above Rome here.
Yep. No, I'm with you. Especially not even looking at a receiver anyways. Like, I know we've said this a million times, he's going to hurt us, but Kyle Pitts is still sitting there. With an actual quarterback, it may be his year. Kittle's still there. Ingram's still there. I, honestly, in best ball, I like Brian Thomas Jr. more than Rome.
Yeah.
And then Kincaid's there, too, who we'll see, man.
How wild
12 personnel they use, but
think of the Chiefs wide receiver core last year and know that there are 3 wide receivers from Kansas City drafted in the same round, in round 6
back to back.
Well, Rashee Rice at the end.
Yeah.
Gross.
Hollywood and Xavier went back to back in this one.
Yep.
It's just Hollywood got a 1-year deal, right? You don't know how much stock and like purpose they're going to put in his play if he's only on a 1-year deal. So honestly, I'd probably lean heavier Xavier Worthy than Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
They also feel like fairly similar players. So I guess we'll see. But
yeah, this guy likes his rookies. This guy took Rome, Brock Bowers, and Caleb Williams. He's pretty big on his rookies.
Yeah. You get any more?
Probably. Ray Davis, my guy, and Braylon Allen.
Who's never going to touch the field. They've got Brees Hall, who's power back, and then they've got Izzy in front of him, too.
Abanaconda.
Yep. What else? Anything else you see in here that's kind of intriguing?
How do we feel about Brock Bowers round 7?
Feels high.
What are the tight ends are after that? So immediately after that, the next round you got, or not next round, but David
Njoku went after. Ferguson went after.
Oh, look at this. Dallas Goedert, T.J. Hawkinson, and Dalton Schultz.
So I think I'm fine with him going before those guys. Hawkinson, you don't know how he's going to come back off that injury. Dalton Schultz is, just fine. He ended 12th or something last year in PPR. But you could have waited to take him probably a round or 2 later, and it's fine if he's not there because this guy ended up taking Freiermuth and Cole Kmet later. If you just didn't have Brock Bowers in this lineup, you'd still probably be fine at tight end. And you could have just gotten somebody else of substance you could have gotten Zamir White and Njoku if you did want another tight end.
Can we be honest? We're better than you with your experience shield. We're picking your lineup apart. Okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of shields in this draft, though.
Yeah.
But, I guess that is one thing you have to do, too, with best ball. You need some variance. So maybe this is his variance draft. You don't know.
Okay. So there's one of your same value. It's not a rookie, but it's one of the big winners because of the draft. In the same round Brock Bowers goes, you have running back 1 for the Raiders, Zamir White, in round 7.
Yep.
Just a couple picks after Brock Bowers. So when you're talking about, and you're guessing that he's going to be impactful in fantasy, do you think tight end versus running back in that instance? Traditionally, you take running back, you take Zamir White. He profiles as RB1 in that offense, but Brock Bowers is Brock Bowers.
Yep. You still need him for the upside weeks, I guess. It's fine. He's probably going to have 1 or 2 weeks where he scores 18, 19 points.
Man, I thought you was going to say 18, 19 touchdowns. I was like, dude, he's good, bro, but he is not 18
One
touchdowns.
Game. No, but when you're this late in draft, you're just shooting for upside. How I look at it in the beginning of drafts, I look for super high floors. Sun God, super high floor. Jalen Waddle, every year's of his career been over 1,000 yards. Tyreek, injuries at this point are kind of building up. Mike Evans just signed a new 2-year deal. Has never had less than 1,000 yards. Checo seems like a workhorse. Nobody behind him. Mahomes. And after that, I'm literally just shooting for who has the most upside. I think Brian Thomas could have a couple games with 2 touchdowns, and it'd be great.
Yeah.
I needed a running back, so that's why I went there. Needed a tight end. But then you've got Trey Benson handcuffing, who James Conner I took 2 weeks before. one of them is going to be scoring the points, so you're going to get whichever one's higher.
Okay.
And then down here, I'm just going straight upside with receivers. Burner on a team that he's the only one. Ricky Pearsall has the best catch of all time. I'll die on that.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you where our boy Pearsall went. So Ricky Pearsall in the 12th.
I took him in the 12th, and I feel like that was great value.
So I got to tell you, knowing that Xavier Leggett was early in that round 12 feels like a good round for Xavier Leggett, too.
Yep. No, it's a great round for him. Sure. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. But, like, I'm so worried about that offense still. I know they had a great draft filling out a lot of it. But I just don't know how that offense is still going to turn out. It's a new head coach and everything, but it's such a coin flip. I don't know. I went for Ricky Pearsall, who's on a known offense.
Yep.
Further down the depth chart, yes, but he could have some high, like, upside weeks. Also, when they've been talking about moving some of their receivers, if they do end up moving them, it will end up being better. This late for running backs, I usually like Marshawn Lloyd. I'm grabbing rookie handcuffs.
Yeah.
They gave him good draft stock, and who's in front of him? Josh Jacobs, I guess.
Yeah.
There could be upside. Roshan's probably going to get the touchdowns on that team.
Yeah.
With DeAndre Swift, the past 2 years, he has had a 16 rushing touchdown teammate, which is a wild stat. Last year, Jalen Hurts, 16 rushing touchdowns. Year before that, Jamal Williams, 16 rushing touchdowns, which is just a wild stat. So I don't have a lot of stock in him getting touchdowns. So I was thinking Roshan, why not?
I'm fine with that. Yep. Let me throw a couple names at you here. I'm just looking through these back half, third or 75% rounds, right? 3/4 rounds. So how bad was Quentin Johnston last year to be going 5 rounds after rookie Ladd McConkey?
I've never seen somebody drop so many passes. I'm the resident Chargers fan. I'm like the only one I know in person. It's kind of weird. But
that's true.
It was disgusting to watch him play. His routes did not look good, and he cost them games with his drops.
I mean, the ball hits him like in his
hands. They could have won those games. He cost them being in the playoffs. It was.
He's anti-clutch. Like he
is anti.
Opposite of clutch.
Fell apart on the big stage when he was needed most. And so literally, I'm looking anywhere else on his team. I would take Josh Palmer over him any day. I'm already taking Ladd over him everywhere.
Oh yeah, I think so. Ladd's going to be a PPR machine.
Yep. They just signed 2 new tight ends because Everett's on the Bears now, and
Hayden Hurst, right?
Hayden Hurst and Will Dissly, maybe.
Yeah.
Because Parham is more brittle than an eggshell. So
when you're that tall. The other name that I think sticks out to me here is the same guy 2 rounds later, Jermaine Burton going to Cincinnati, I think is being slept on so far. They still have Jamar, but they do not have Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins is demanding a trade. Yep. So we might be in a situation where, like, this guy in round 15 gets wide receiver 2 for a Joe Burrow offense. Dude, that's good. That's probably really, really good value for round 15.
I mean, maybe. Where was he actually taken in the draft, though? Like, he doesn't have a lot of, like, stock put in him. Like, you've got the, what's his name? The Princeton fella who's still there who got on the field a bit last year. Yosivas. He was my guy. I loved him in the combine last year. I'm hoping he gets some more runs this year, especially if T's gone.
I don't know, Nolan. Round 3, pick 16.
That's higher than I remember it being.
That's pretty good draft capital.
That's my bad. Then I remembered it being later.
And put him on the board, Nolan. Jermaine Burton.
Round 15, high upside stock. Snag the guy.
Yeah, dude, that's a great pick.
And I don't know. I love handcuffs this late. The Isaac Guerendo pick by this fellow right in front of me. CMC is historically brittle. He wasn't last year. No. Fine. I didn't draft him because he's historically brittle, and I probably lost leagues because of it. Fine. But we're going to regress to the mean at some point. And I
Yep.
feel like that is a solid round 17 grab you could get. Because at that point, you're just drafting upside what ifs.
Yeah.
That's why the next pick I grabbed Brendan Rice, because he has a great story and a great name, and you never know.
And he's a Charger, Nolan.
And he's a Charger. And on
Don't
that
think
team,
I didn't
you
notice
have
that.
no idea what's going to happen.
Yep. Well, and here's the other name. This is going to be my laugh out loud player because people are going to be tripping. I can't wait to watch Ezekiel Elliott's ADP climb and let dummies go pick him.
What was
They're
the
going to do that
article? He's going to be their committee, group by
yes,
committee,
their committee
according to the Cowboys offense. But, like, of course they are. They have Zeke and a bunch of nobodies. They have what? Rico.
You don't know about Deuce Vaughn?
Deuce Vaughn's 5'6". Shut up.
Let me see. Rico Dowdle. Dude, Rico Dowdle's 6 foot, 220.
So he looks like an NFL running back. He hasn't been on the field, though. We have no idea what this guy's going to look like when he's actually touches
Nolan,
the field.
He's in year 4.
Is he really?
Okay. Yes.
Jesus.
He's 25 years old. But I look at the same people, like just talking running backs in that round 12, where that guy took Zeke. Jalen Wright a pick later, Jerome Ford, knowing that he was dynamite last year. Nick Chubb's coming off that injury. And then we just talked about the touchdown machine, Blake Corum, right there. I take any of those guys over Zeke Elliott in this round.
I think Jalen Wright is a steal right there, too. So the Miami running backs, very brittle last year. So it goes back to, I feel like it goes back to Mike McDaniels. Back when everybody was talking about the 49ers running backs just being committee because everybody gets hurt, he was the run game coordinator. He goes to Miami, and he just has to start cycling through running backs because everybody gets hurt. He just fits the bill of what he wants, and eventually the guys in front of him are going to get hurt. Yep. So I feel like a late season, that's probably a solid pick right there.
Oh, yeah. I do love some of these late round. You were kind of hitting on it earlier. I do love some of these late round rookie running backs. Like you see, like I said, Isaac Garindo there, round 17. And then Braylon Allen, I'm out. But Dylan Lobby, right there. We don't know who's going to be good for the Raiders. We don't know if Zamir White's going to be like awesome, or if they're going to have to commit it. And then super slept on name so far, Nolan educated me to him. But Will Shipley for the Eagles in the 17th round, you're talking about just throwing darts this late in a best ball draft, like hoping that you get the Kyrens or the Pukas or the guys from last year that went completely undrafted. And I think some of these late picks, Tyrone Tracy Jr., the Giants guy, guys, the Giants are starting Devin Singletary. And they might have, we're talking about like super left field thing, but what if Tyrone Tracy explodes this year as a rookie running back in an offense that's just
not even a running back? He is almost the Memphis Tigers running back special. He's like a receiver running back combo thing.
They need that. They need that so badly.
And it fits that team so well. Like, that guy could probably come out of nowhere this year.
Yeah. And he's kind of your typical size, too, 5'11", 210. Yep. He's put a little bit more weight on him, but still, like, that's so cool to look at the later rounds on this and see some of these rookie guys going.
You might as well. It's a better pick than Dameon Pierce, who's done nothing but let me down.
I'll say this. I wasn't a fan of the pick, but Bo Nix in the 18th. Okay.
Sure. Okay. Why not?
I mean, and suck it, by the way, Panthers, to have spent all that draft capital for Bryce Young, and here he is in the 17th round as a quarterback.
He took Troy Franklin in the 13th.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
I see.
He got him a little, the saddest stack you've ever seen.
So, yeah, what a cool draft. And look, some of these names, because they're such late round guys, like none of these, you could look at most of the rookies like past round 15 or 16 and know they weren't being drafted last week in some cases. And so, like, it's really cool. Luke McCaffrey going around 16, right? Like jumping up people's boards, knowing that he's at best third on this depth chart.
Whoever this guy is.
You're going to have to learn about Kamani Vidal.
No idea who this guy. Don't know if I've ever heard that name.
No, my guy is the talking point guy, Nolan and I have already mentioned him 10 times privately. We haven't brought him on the podcast yet. Ray Davis, around before to Buffalo.
Yep.
Dude had 7 reception touchdowns last year as a running back.
You love him. You talk about him so much.
They're just pumped about it. You know, I think so. Their offense where like they just need as much pass catching talent as possible.
That's right.
And so someone was telling me, let me go look at it while we're on the thing. Like, integrity matters here. Someone told me, like, oh, not a big deal. James Cook was a really good receiving back. Let's see. Last year he had 4 reception touchdowns.
Oof.
Ray Davis had 7 from Kentucky. I mean, come on. And he's 5'11", 190. Ray Davis is 5'8", but he's 211. I mean, literally 20 pounds heavier.
He only had 44 receptions on the year.
James Cook or Ray Davis?
James Cook.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So like, I think, you know, he's just one of those guys that's going to get slept on until the preseason. When he catches one and takes it to the house, he's probably like that Pierre Thomas, shout out for that old name, esque like screen back kind of guy. But still, really exciting stuff on this one. You know, next week we're going to have to do a live draft, Nolan, and get into this where I can be a part of it.
We'll do it. We'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it. So, well, look, we appreciate you. We're going to wrap on that one. We don't have to go an hour every time, people. So, super excited to get into the rest of how these rookies are changing our drafts and what they're going to do for our season. We look forward to doing this again next week. Check us out on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Check us out on YouTube. And then remember, if you're going on Underdog and signing up, use FF Advice for your first deposit match code, and your first deposit gets matched. So, look, don't throw away free money just because Nolan was on the podcast. Okay?
Look.
Use the code.
I'll never hold it against him for getting free money.
That's right. All right. Well, look, I'm Zach. That's Nolan. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.